You're sitting with a group of friends, family, or even colleagues, and the conversation takes a turn towards the personal. Someone starts sharing the intimate details of their life, their struggles, their challenges, their fears, and before you know it, everyone is chiming in with their own stories, their own problems, their own complaints. Sound familiar? It's a scenario that plays out in social gatherings, workplaces, and even online forums all the time. And while there's certainly value in sharing our experiences and seeking support from others, there's also a danger in getting too caught up in the drama of our own lives. You see, when we constantly talk about what's going on in our lives, we give those experiences power over us. We allow them to define us, to shape our thoughts and emotions, and to dictate the course of our lives. But what if I told you there was another way? What if I told you that by simply shifting your focus away from your own problems and onto something greater, you could transform your life in ways you never thought possible? It may sound too good to be true, but hear me out. You see, when we stop telling what's going on in our lives, we open ourselves up to a whole new world of possibilities. We free ourselves from the limitations of our own stories, and we start to see the world through a different lens. Think about it this way: when you're constantly talking about your problems, your challenges, your struggles, what are you really focusing on? You're focusing on lack, on limitation, on what's missing from your life. But when you stop telling those stories, when you shift your focus onto something else, something bigger than yourself, you start to see the abundance that's all around you. You start to notice the opportunities, the blessings, the miracles that are hiding in plain sight. And that's where the magic happens. That's where you start to tap into a source of power and potential that most people never even know exists. That's where you start to create a life that's full of joy, purpose, and meaning. But I know what you might be thinking, but what about the real problems in my life? What about the challenges I'm facing, the obstacles I need to overcome? How can I just ignore those things and focus on something else? And I get it. I really do. We all have real problems, real challenges, real issues that we need to deal with on a daily basis. And I'm not suggesting that you ignore those things or pretend they don't exist. But what I am suggesting is that you stop giving them so much power over your life. What I am suggesting is that you start to see those challenges as opportunities for growth, for learning, for transformation. You see, when we focus all of our energy and attention on our problems, we give them the power to control us. We allow them to dictate our thoughts, our emotions, our actions. And before we know it, we're stuck in a cycle of negativity and self-doubt that can be hard to break free from. But when we shift our focus onto something else, something that inspires us, something that fills us with a sense of purpose and meaning, we start to see those problems in a different light. We start to approach them with a sense of curiosity, with a willingness to learn and grow from them. And that's when the real transformation happens. That's when we start to see our challenges not as obstacles, but as opportunities. That's when we start to tap into our own inner strength and resilience, and we start to create a life that's full of possibility and potential. So how do you do it? How do you stop telling what's going on in your life and start focusing on something greater? Well, it starts with a simple shift in mindset. Instead of dwelling on your problems, start to focus on your dreams. Instead of complaining about what's wrong in your life, start to express gratitude for what's right. Instead of seeking validation and support from others, start to cultivate a deep sense of self-love and self-acceptance. And most importantly, start to take action. Start to do something every day that moves you closer to your goals, your dreams, your highest aspirations. Whether it's writing in a journal, meditating, exercising, or simply taking a few moments to breathe deeply and center yourself, make it a priority to invest in your own growth and development. Because here's the thing: when you focus on something greater than yourself, when you tap into a sense of purpose and meaning, you start to attract incredible things into your life. You start to notice synchronicities and opportunities that you never even knew existed. You start to feel a sense of excitement and enthusiasm for the journey ahead. And before you know it, those problems that once seemed so overwhelming start to fade into the background. They don't disappear entirely, but they lose their power over you. They become simply another part of the tapestry of your life, another thread in the rich and beautiful story that you're weaving. So let me ask you this: what would your life look like if you stopped telling what's going on in your life and started focusing on something greater? What kind of person would you become? What kind of impact would you make in the world? I want you to take a moment right now to close your eyes and visualize that future self. See yourself as the confident, purposeful, joyful person you've always wanted to be. Feel the energy and excitement that comes from living a life that's fully aligned with your values and your passions. And now I want you to make a commitment to yourself. A commitment to stop telling what's going on in your life and start focusing on something greater. A commitment to take one small step every day towards becoming that future self, no matter how scary or uncomfortable it may feel. It could be something as simple as starting your day with a few minutes of quiet reflection or setting aside time each week to pursue a hobby or passion. It could be reaching out to someone you admire and asking for their guidance or mentorship. It could be volunteering your time and energy to a cause that's close to your heart. Whatever it is, make it a non-negotiable part of your daily routine. Make it as important as breathing or eating or sleeping. Because when you stop telling what's going on in your life and start focusing on something greater, everything else starts to fall into place. And I promise you this, when you look back on your life years from now, you won't remember the problems that once seemed so overwhelming. You won't remember the challenges or the obstacles or the moments of self-doubt. What you will remember is the person you became, the life you created, the impact you made in the world. And you'll be grateful that you had the courage to stop telling what's going on in your life and start focusing on something greater, even when it was hard, even when it was scary. So let's make that commitment right here and now. Let's pledge to stop telling what's going on in our lives and start focusing on something greater, no matter what life throws our way. Let's support and encourage each other and hold each other accountable to our highest vision of ourselves. And most importantly, let's never forget how powerful we truly are. Let's never forget that we have within us the ability to create the life we want, to be the person we've always dreamed of being. It all starts with a decision to stop telling what's going on in your life and start focusing on something greater. A decision to trust in your own strength, your own wisdom, and your own resilience. So make that decision today. Take that first step, no matter how small or how scary. And watch as your life begins to transform in ways you never thought possible.